Remembering your birthright. That is what we're all here for, to remember our birthright. What does that mean? Let's just take a moment to consider and sense and feel and notice what's already here. What's present, regardless of any circumstance. For a moment, let's consider who you are before your biological history. Just take a nice, good, deep breath with me. And let yourself settle in here. Now, I'm not going to give you a lot of information. We're inundated with information. So, more what I want to invite is for you to feel and sense. There's a different kind of relating that happens with ourselves when we just settle in our bodies and feel into our hearts. And it's not difficult. There may be an invitation of kindness, kindness with how we may orient around the mind, and to have great compassion for the collective field of noise that happens around us and can have this very strong gravitational pull toward fixing and figuring out and understanding. So, for a moment, let's let that subside so you can drop. And the breath is a wonderful tool for just dropping here, dropping into the body. Now, you can have your eyes opened or closed, it does not matter. What and who you are doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't make itself even more accessible by closing your eyes. I mean, that might be helpful in order to kind of turn off external distractions. But we're here engaged in life. The way of the modern mystic, the way of the modern seeker is life as it is. We don't have this opportunity to go off into the cave or the Himalaya mountains, and not that that is necessary to join an ashram or a monastery or a convent. Now let's consider that these are structures that were created and designed in our history, and mostly for men and by men. Well, except for the convents for the women, that were actually we don't hear these stories, but we're discovering their way. So the way of our birthright is the way of the heart, is the way of innocence, is the way of listening and feeling and being in relationship to everything that we are. So to be in relationship means to be in life, to be with family, to be with lovers, to be with work, to be with all of these different things that life presents. And there's a very good reason for that, because none of those places are easy. Now, we may have an idea that, to come into relationship with a man, a woman, any person that may not identify themselves as man or woman, even with a garden, you know? An animal that there will be in relationship, there will be heartbreak, there will be messing it up, there will be not getting it right. All of these things will happen because we're human and there isn't a perfect plan. There isn't an ideal place called perfection. There isn't an ideal place called enlightenment where we're untouched by our humanness, by the humanity that is happening all around us. Now, right now, we have this amazing opportunity because many of the ways in which we engage with life are not available to us. These ways in which we can meet with other people, whether that be easy or difficult, and anything in between, because that's life. Life is never easy. Like, life is where we grow emotionally. And the heart requires this. And I'm going to tell you why. When we bump up against something, when we lose something that is so dear to us that we love, when something that we have so much passion for doesn't go the way we want it to go, when we've put and invested all our energy into something so beautiful and magnificent that we wanted to bring forth in life, and it gets taken away. That's happening all around us now. Jobs have been lost, relationships have broken down, people have become ill, have passed on. The earth is, having so much sorrow right now. So, what happens though, and this is not as easy to happen right now because we're asked to stay at home, is that this hurts. There's an ouch. There's an ouch. Now, what happens often when there's an ouch, a hurt, is that we become guarded. We can become guarded, close off, and go right up here into the next thing of trying to fix it or make it better. And we have all kinds of marketing programs that will give you, a 5-step plan on how to fix something, or a 3-step, or maybe even a 1-step. All of these things which take us right up out of our heartbreak. But heartbreak is the doorway to our birthright, always, always. Even right now, just this morning, that happens to be my birthday. And to tell you the truth, I really feel ageless and deathless. I don't even know. I can't remember. I need to be reminded what age this body is because I don't hold myself in that kind of frame of reference with a biological history. It just doesn't operate like that for me anymore. But I do engage with human beings all the time. So I have this little teacher in my house, one of my twins, and she was like just strong and energetic like she always is. So we had a little duel, a little going back and forth. And I love, kind of, for me, it's a play, but with her, it's very serious. So the invitation is like, can I let myself feel what that feels like? Because when I let myself feel what that feels like for me, I am entering into her world. I'm entering into her humanity. I'm entering into that place in which we're the same in our humanness. And then there can be a melting. Then there can be a joining. Then there can be a stopping, an unpacking. And then whatever pattern was triggered, and whatever, I'm giving myself as an example, But in your own relating, when there's that little duel happening, going back and forth, and it's not feeling good. But if we let ourselves enter it fully, the feeling of it, and we drop into what that feels like, feeling is so essential. So maybe it's strong in the beginning, and that layer peels away, that layer softens. So we become less and less guarded. And then maybe there's sadness, maybe there's grief, or maybe there's a deeper wounding that is touched. And our heart becomes much more accessible. And our heart is our birthright. This is what spiritual awakening is. It's anything in life that gives us a portal to the heart. The heart is our portal. It's not the mind. So to be able to avail ourselves to the challenging situations, and they're here now, we know that. To avail ourselves to the places that scare us, the places where we might want to retreat back. Notice that that's happening. There's the awareness, the noticing, and then move forward anyways. Move forward anyways, because that situation, whatever it is in your life for a reason. This is the grace of life, giving us an opportunity to return, to remember our birthright. Our birthright is an open heart. Remember when you were first born. And if you can't remember that, which many of us can't, see if you can avail yourself to a newborn baby. And just sense and feel the openness and the innocence of that baby before any construct of conditioning was layered on. Because that's what happens in our biological history. We're conditioned. Layers of conditioning are placed upon us. And we believe them because this is what is supported in our society, in our cultures, in our families. But they're just constructs. And they're layered into our conditioning, into our cognition. And we then have a frame of reference as an identity, an identification. You could call this our personality, you could call this our ego, whatever you want to call it. But that's comes after. It's essentially not at all who we are, not at all. So are you willing to allow your frame, the construct in which you've been organized around through layers, years of conditioning, to let that unravel? And the direct path is through the heart. It's through the heart, through feeling, because as soon as we feel, we're landing in our bodies. And our bodies are where the sensations, are the feelings and sensations that we learned to suppress, to mask, to guard against, to kind of zip up into an identity that we thought was going to help us navigate this life. And maybe it did for a while, you know, but do nothing, let it go. You don't have to effort to be anyone. So, like, just take that much in. Just let yourself pause. Ah, imagine not having to work, not having to effort, not having to struggle to be something because you don't have to. There are many, many, many who have gone before us, and there are many beautiful teachings available. And these teachings are only pointers. They're always pointing back to you. You are the source. You are your own guru, and your life is the playing field for you to stumble along, to bump up against things, to fall down, to get up again, and to feel all of it. And believe me, if you allow yourself to feel all of it, to be deeply touched, to crack open over and over and over and over again, ah, you'll be so satisfied. And that is what your gift then is to all that you meet.